Hello again, everybody. Hey, Chicago Rink Rats. Welcome back to another Chicago Rinkcast via the Rink. My name is Andy Campbell. I am here with two of the regulars, two beauties. I've got the Bardo here and Sean Fitzgerald. What's happening, guys? 1 week later, let's get back into some stuff tonight. What do you say?
Sounds good. Let's roll.
Sounds great to me.
Awesome. Shawnee, tell me about the lid.
Today is a AFC Richmond trucker hat.
Good
I
stuff.
got it on Amazon after I watched the show Ted Lasso on Apple TV. I really enjoyed it. I actually just read a great article on Vulture yesterday about how if you didn't see Nate's turn coming in season 2, spoiler alert, sorry, you weren't paying attention to him just like Ted wasn't. So,
oh wow, so just condemning people that aren't following things close enough.
I guess, but I mean, I saw part of it, but I didn't see the big thing. So, but I enjoyed it, so I bought a hat.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
I have an addiction.
Yeah, you sure do. That's to say the least. Bardo, what's going on, man? How are you? What's new in your world?
Nothing is new in my world at all. Trying to dodge the COVID bullet, and that's pretty much it. The Hawks still stink, so what else is new?
Yeah, and about that, we're going to talk about these guys a little bit. At any rate, folks.
Andy, before we do that, are you wearing a University of Michigan hat?
I am wearing the hat of, yes, their Big Ten championship hat. That was a gift from my father for Christmas. Yeah, they faded out fast, but don't want to forget that run and that game at Ohio State or against Ohio State.
I need to give you props. I do need to give Michigan props because they beat my UMass Minutemen twice.
There you go. They sure did. My father was at that as well, which is awesome. And a reminder, I got a good story about my pops. I want to give him a shout out at the end. Now that Shawnee did the birthday deal last week, which was awesome, by the way. So
my dad had a Facebook post about it. He's very happy about it. So, and if we do a pod next week, I have 2 birthdays next week.
There you go.
My mother and my wife's are next week.
There you go. All right. Yep. Fitzgerald reunion. We'll get after it. Before we begin, folks, before we launch into it, shout out to our sponsors, www.PUCK Puck Hockey, PUCKHCKY.com. Use discount code in all caps, the Rink, for 10% off in any merchandise. If you spend $100 there, they'll get you a free shirt. And they got some good loot. I'm not wearing any tonight, but there's some good stuff going on. So there's one thing going on in the Blackhawks world that maybe we can say, dare I say, is a positive, and that is the debut of Lukas Reichel tonight. Folks, you excited to watch him? What do you guys think? About a half an hour, the Hawks are playing Lukas Reichel. Tell me more about Reichel in the first place, Bardo. Who's this guy?
Well, look, I mean, he was a first-round pick a couple of years ago. Very skilled forward from Germany, I believe. His father played in the NHL for the Calgary Flames, Robert Reichel, I believe.
He's the nephew.
I'm sorry, it's his uncle. My fault. But yeah, I mean, very skilled. He did really, really well in the World Championships. He was starting to show out a little bit in the AHL as well. But I guess the team thinks he's ready. It makes me a little bit nervous that they're rushing him because, quite frankly, we're going to burn a year off of his rookie deal with nothing really to play for. I'd rather wait and get a whole bunch of kids than just put him on a line with Kane. What's that going to do for him? But look, I'm going to root for the kid because I am a Hawks fan. I hope this kid becomes all that in a bag of potato chips, but we'll see. I mean, there's going to be a lot of maybe unfair expectations about the kid.
Yeah,
but let's see.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, now wait a minute. Do they think he's ready necessarily? I thought Ben Pope reported that there was some sort of plan with him. Shawnee, did you read that article?
I did. I thought they said Ben Pope said he was going to have kind of like an audition or showcase, a couple games up. I believe the rule is you have to play in less than 11 games before you burn a year on your ELC. So he'll probably come up for a couple games, see where he's at competition-wise, what he needs to work on, and then they're supposed to send him down to Rockford for the rest of the year.
Okay, got it.
So that's the plan, and I hope they stick to the plan
Yeah,
because they really haven't done this. Like, a plan like this hasn't been enacted by the Blackhawks front office or anybody since Teuvo Teravainen.
Right.
Because he was the last guy that they did this with. Everybody else, the Ian Mitchells, the Dylan Sakuras, are just two that come to my mind where the Stan Bowman and now Kyle Davidson hype train, got all Dan Plesac and rode on the train into town.
Right.
And then when they didn't live up to the expectation, everybody was disappointed. And then they were like Ian Mitchell, we still don't know what he is. Dylan Sakura's on his second or third organization since being with the Hawks. So I'm hoping they have a plan for this kid, because right now the cupboard's bare besides him.
Yeah,
in terms of forward prospects,
he's it. I mean, I don't, maybe 18 months ago I was high on Evan Barrett, for example, but he's going to be in rock. He might be a permanent AHL guy at this rate. Regula, not sure exactly how you pronounce it. Who knows? I don't know if they're taking the time to develop him, but you just don't hear about him very much. Galvez played the other night, looked pretty good. Played over 20 minutes and performed pretty well. He had hop in his step. He was clearly excited to be there. Is he going to be a regular? Who knows? We just don't know. I mean, one game, the tail of the tape. I mean, I remember when the Hawks brought up Teravainen in 2014, there was really no room for him in the first place.
Right.
And the Hawks were an absolute wagon. And they brought him up. They gave him a couple games, and then they sent him down. And I was actually at the game where they brought him up, and he was not ready. So I guess what I am nervous about is Reichel pops in a goal or two in the first two games, and they go, okay, you should be here. And then he turns into Kirby Doc 2.0. Right. A guy that is rushed and, looks lost from time to time out there. So, and
I wonder too, just me speculating, if he was called up because Derek King's the head coach now. Because Derek King, Galvez played under King at Rockford. Kurashev, who showed some promise as of late, played under King at Rockford, seems to be playing better as of late.
Right.
So now maybe because Colleton's not here, Derek King seems to be trying to develop some of the younger kids while staying competitive. Maybe that's their plan. Well, I'm a little nervous, to be honest with you. If Kyle Davidson is going to have the interim tag taken away from him, he's got to get away from the Stan Bowman, that era of overhyping prospects and rushing them. They've got to start developing players. That's been their biggest shortcoming since the Stanley Cup years. One of the biggest knocks on Stan Bowman is he didn't develop any. He didn't draft and didn't develop. And now his successor who came up under him hopefully is not making the same mistake.
Yeah.
I still think they're going to hire. Well, I was going to say, I still think they're going to hire, whether it's a president of hockey operations or a new GM, somebody from outside the organization is coming in, and whether Kyle stays here or not, it may be irrelevant because he may not be the person with the final say. But my point of bringing that up is the fact that we're talking about all these guys like Kurashev and Reichel and whether or not they're going to be good, whether they're going to be. We don't even know if they're going to be here because we have no idea what the blueprint is for this team moving forward. I mean, these people could all be lame. These players could all be lame ducks for all we know, and they could all get traded for all we know. I mean, it's not going to happen realistically, but quite frankly, we just don't know who's part of this core, who's staying. We have no idea what we're developing here.
I don't think there is a core anymore.
No, I don't know what the hell the core is.
There's one guy, Alex DeBrincat.
Yeah, DeBrincat, yeah. Maybe he's the only, Maybe he's the only guy you don't trade, or maybe you do, and just, I don't know. We could go on and on about the Black. I mean, it's a mess. It's disarray. It's not productive. The Reichel thing.
Won 2 games.
They won 2 games. Congratulations, guys. They're not going to make the playoffs, and they're not going to be bad enough where they're going to get a 1 or 2 draft pick. They're forfeiting their pick automatically to Columbus. This Lukas Reichel thing could very well just be a publicity stunt, because here we are in in early January, mid-January at this point, and you're looking at a team that's going nowhere. So the things that the Hawks and the management are pushing advertising right now are Lukas Reichel and Andrew Shaw Heritage Night. And so, the New York Rangers are winning a lot of games right now, and they're a very exciting hockey team. And that's why at Madison Square Garden, they're not doing Joey Kocur Night. That's – but seriously, so, it's just I love Andrew Shaw. Yeah, he was great. Everyone loves the Mutt. Great guy. burned out because of his style of play. Everyone loves this guy. But an Andrew Shaw Heritage Night, come on, guys. It's...
And did he, correct me if I'm wrong, did he just like disappear off CSN? I know or NBC Sports Chicago. I know he was like there with Colby Cohen like once or twice. I don't know if he was just bad and then he just disappeared.
I don't know.
He was answered.
Or was it after the Kyle Beach information came out?
No, he was here post Kyle Beach, but he was terrible. I don't think he's good.
Oh, Colby Cohen's not good either, but that's for another time.
Right. Yeah. I don't know.
Foley and Enzo are back tonight.
Thank God.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's worth tuning in as well as Reichel's debut. But that's about it on the Hawks right now. And I think we can continue on, but I think we'd be going down a very dark road as we always do. And our lights aren't working, driving blind, trying to figure out what this organization is up to, why they're existing, who's in charge, and what is next. And it's a zero-sum game. So that's enough on the Hawks for tonight, unless someone else has something creative going on. The other things we were going to talk about tonight, we got a good show. We want to touch base briefly on Connor McDavid's recent comments on the potential signing of Evander Kane. And then what we're going to do, folks, is we have our Midseason Awards, our midseason who wins hardware right now, Hart Trophy, Norris Trophy, Calder Trophy, who we give it midseason. And then who's our predicted winner after that? Like, who'd you give it to right now? And then who's the prediction moving forward? But before we do all that, I do want to talk a little bit about Connor McDavid's recent interview, because the media is really after him for what he said when he was asked about the optics of his team signing Evander Kane. And I mean, to set the table right now for this, I mean, the Edmonton Oilers can seemingly do no right now as a hockey club. They were supposed to be dominating. They started off the new year very poorly, and they have become a two-man show with Draisaitl and Connor McDavid. So at any rate, Connor McDavid was asked this question, and we're going to play it here. We're going to attempt that share screen thing, which is always very fun. And we're going to play the actual, what his response was when asked about the optics of signing Evander Kane. Here we go.
I'm not really here to discuss optic issues. If fans don't like it or the media doesn't like it or whatever, I think, it is what it is. I'm sure there's lots of things that go on the ice and whatnot that fans don't like. And we don't necessarily have to discuss those up here with you guys. So, the public opinion is something that obviously matters a lot. But we're here to try to win games and try to put together a good team on the ice. And Kenny thinks that's what he can do, then that's what he can do. I think Kenny's got our full support in what he does.
Okay, so fellas, what do we think? What do we got? Shawnee, what say you about this? So
I think Connor McDavid's biggest misstep in his comments was Evander Kane is not being criticized for Evander Kane's issues aren't on the ice. All his issues are off the ice. Like, he quit on his team and heads and shoulders. He's just a genuinely bad guy off the ice. And the fact that Connor McDavid said, where I'm not here to talk about optics. Well, if you're the captain of your team, the face of your franchise, optics is something that should be important to you. I think he should have just either said, I'm not in charge of personnel moves. That's Ken Holland's job.
Yep.
Something like he should have deflected it to Ken Holland. He shouldn't have had. They should have the PR team should have coached him up and said, listen, Ken Holland's the one making the move. You're not responsible for this move. You're just all you do is play with the people they put on the ice with you, and that's what you're supposed to say. And if they criticize him for that, then whatever. But I think he handled it poorly, and I think NHL teams should really invest in PR firms.
Yeah, I mean, that's a given. I mean, they clearly need to train these guys a little bit more. But Bardo, what was he supposed to say here?
What was he supposed to say? And our audience a little bit into my world. So PR 101, sometimes, I have the opportunity to, media train and prepare, celebrities, athletes, executives, the whatnot. And the first thing you tell them is you do not repeat a negative. And the questions don't necessarily matter. It's more about what the answer is. And quite frankly, he started off as with repeating a negative, because the word optics in the context of the question is negative. And once he started saying that, if you listen to his answer really closely, it started spiraling down the drain, and everything was negative and negative and negative. We know the fans are going to say bad things. We know the fans are going to say bad. It just kept on going, and he buried what he should have said towards the back of back of his answer. I mean, he flat out should have just said and taken the high road that, I'm here to play hockey, to win hockey games. That's a question for Ken Holland. I'm focused on winning games each and every night. Ended. That's it. Short, sweet, concise.
I mean, I hear that. I feel that, Bardo, but at the same time, I don't think the media would have let him off the hook for saying that either. Because now we're in this hockey players are only win only. I mean, I don't think he could have won with anything he said when asked this question.
You're probably right, but quite frankly, then he should have just stuck to what I just said. Yep. And if he was asked a follow-up question, it's again, my focus, as we tell people, stick to your messaging. It's right now, it's really just focused on winning. We're focused on winning hockey games, and that's it. If he's asked a little bit more about him, and he's part of the team now, and he's going to work with us, and we're going to. And that's it. We're focused on winning. I mean,
that could have gone over a little better if he said, "Look, I don't know everything about Evander's past. I've heard about some of this stuff, but if he comes here, we're going to welcome him in, and we're going to tell him what we expect out of him as a teammate, and as a person.
That's simple.
And then we're going to move forward." Sure. And I mean, hindsight's 20/20. It's easy for us to say, "Here's what you should have said." When he was put on the spot, I mean, he basically just looked like, "I don't want to deal with this right now. Like, please." Right. Leave me alone. Like
I just want to talk about hockey. I don't want to talk about stuff off the ice.
Right, exactly.
Everything about that, from his answer to his body language to his tone, were like, failing grades. It was a failing grade. I mean, it was horrible.
At the same time, number one, he didn't praise Evander Kane. He wasn't like, can't wait for him to get here. Like, you guys are nuts. Like,
he didn't pull the Jonathan Taves and praise Stan Bowman.
I mean, you're right. He could have praised like what Taves and Kane when they're sitting there praising Stan Bowman, after he got fired. That's a totally different deal.
Yeah,
in my opinion. And I just did Connor McDavid sound great? No, he didn't. Are the media trying to make an example out of him as what's negative about hockey culture? Absolutely, they are. Absolutely, they are, and I
don't blame him, because you know what, he dug his own grave, is what he did.
Yeah, he did, but I'm still kind of like I don't know. I'm troubled a little bit with. I think that there was a little bit. I don't think he could have won with any response to that whatsoever. And taking the high road would have been the best option.
Yep,
probably right, but there's also probably a lesser of 2 or 3 evils here. So
direct all those questions to Ken Holland. And just stick with that. Like Bill Belichick always says, we're on to Detroit. We're on to Detroit. Like he just keeps repeating that.
Shrug his shoulders, just go.
We're on to Detroit. We're on to Detroit. Whoever they're playing next. I just keep saying Detroit.
Anyway, but that's been a real hot button right now on Twitter, and people are really getting after McDavid about it. Whereas do I think Evander Kane should be signed quickly? Absolutely not. If the Oilers don't sign him, will someone else? Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to happen, and it's going to happen quickly. Has he learned his lesson? Probably not. But at the same time, I don't blame McDavid in this one as much as I blame the Edmonton Oilers.
Of course.
Right.
I agree.
It's like, let's throw our captain out there and see if he can handle this very poor decision that we're about to make.
Right.
Without telling him, like, hey, look, we're gonna stand by you and protect you right here. It doesn't seem Ken Holland is very, it doesn't sound like the communication lines with him and his coaches and his players is very fluid right now.
It's probably not a fair comparison, but look at Antonio Brown. How many chances was he going to get?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. So
true. Everybody knows who these guys are. They're just trying to maximize what they can to win.
Yeah.
Well, ultimately, Evander Kane signing with Edmonton isn't going to help them win. He doesn't play defense, and he doesn't play goalie. I don't understand why they would take the risk, the PR, any risk in that regard. He doesn't put you over the edge.
Yeah. There's also an ego thing in this because coaches and GMs, et cetera, can say, you know what, we've got the culture, we can take care of them, we can fix them, and that's what the Patriots did when they signed when they signed Antonio Brown. I mean, they were like, we can bring him into our culture, he'll be fine. You know, look at what happened with Corey Dillon, among others, and then look what happened. It blew up in their face after a week.
Yeah, and let's not forget the Patriots had Anthony Hernandez on the roster. So
Aaron Hernandez, yeah,
that too, that guy too.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
So I don't, I mean, if I'm McDavid, if Holland comes up to me, and says, "Hey, how are you doing?" I've seen that interview. I go, "Yeah, thanks a lot. Appreciate it, buddy."
Yeah, get in the net. Let's take some shots.
Yeah, right. Thanks. Jeez. Anyway, let's get into some fun stuff. And enough of the controversy surrounding Connor McDavid's comments. But yeah, I mean, it's a hot issue right now. So just want to touch base on that quickly. Let's talk about some hardware. All right. So maybe we should just go big early. We're kind of at the mid-season point. So who are your Hart candidates? If you were to pick a Hart Trophy winner right now, who's been the MVP from the October season, from the season starting in October to January 13th? Who's the MVP of the NHL, and then who wins MVP? Bard, we are going to you.
I am going with who I think it is as of this point is Ovechkin, and I'm going to stick with him to win it. He seems to, and I think I saw a stat at one point that in all 14 of their wins in this, from October through December, he had scored in every single one of their games. Yeah. He's still, the best goal scorer, arguably, in the game at his age. And so to me, that team is absolute trash without him. Whereas, it's easy to say Draisaitl or McDavid but if you lose one, you still got the other. So to me, it's like they sort of cancel each other out. But to me, I'm going to stick with Ovechkin because I think, he will be the one that will keep that team in the playoffs contention and maybe even win that division.
Then who are your other finalists? Give me a layup and give me a wild card.
I'm still sticking with I'm still going to stick with McDavid as probably a runner-up because I think that's the easy one. As far as a little bit of a wild card, and I know this team has sort of fallen off a little bit, but I always butcher his name. Kid from Minnesota.
That's my job.
Yeah. Yeah. Kirill KK from Minnesota.
Kiprazov.
That's what I was going to say. So, to me, he's been great. So, and I mean, to me, he's a bit of a sleeper. And if that team bounces back, I think he's going to sneak into that top three and maybe even finish fourth. But maybe he gets a trip to Vegas for the award ceremony.
Okay, I like it. So you're going with Ovi. I like that pick. Shawnee, what say you?
So my three finalists, I'll go obviously McDavid. I'll go Ovi, and I will go my wild card pick. I'll go Johnny Gaudreau.
Whoa.
Yeah, Johnny Hockey. He's got 38 points, so he's 11th. Calgary's really good, and I think they're gonna, advance pretty far. So I think he's my wild card pick.
Right, but you think
I think he gets a trip to Vegas.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I think what Bardo said, I think it's Alexander Ovechkin. I think he's going to win the MVP.
Right.
He's the best player. Like Bardo said, he scored, and he has 24 goals, 28 assists, 52 points, 37 games. He's a plus 15.
Yeah.
Like he has the most shots in the NHL right now with 170. Like,
what is his age now? 30? Is he 37?
He's 36.
36.
He plays 22 minutes a night. He's averaging 22 minutes a night. That is the most he's averaged since 2008, 2009, where he averaged 23 minutes a night.
That's pretty legit.
Yeah. I think he wins the Hart.
Okay. I like it. So I'm going to go along with this. And I agree. I think Alex Ovechkin right now is the MVP to this point of the season, and I think he wins it. I do. And he should, and hats off to him. I mean, what a career to be doing what he's doing at 36. Amazing. I do think that McDavid will be a finalist as well. My wild card, and this is for some of my guys around here. This is for you, Eric, as well. My guys, Pat McCoy, Adam Z80, my buddy Willie Waters. I don't know if there's a more valuable player on his team right now than Brad Marchand. Yeah, hat trick last night or 2 nights ago. He had a hattie. Was that last night, 2 nights ago? I have no idea. But, I got a text last night from a buddy of mine being like, I think Brad Marchand should be in the Hart conversation if the Bruins continue to do this. I don't know. I left the game last night when it was 2-0. He had set up Pasternak on the second goal. His production numbers are unbelievable. And if he is not in their lineup, I do think this is the first year that maybe we've seen Bergeron slow down a little bit. And Pasternak is so inconsistent. And if Brad Marchand isn't playing the way that he's playing, I don't even know if this team is in the playoff picture. And so if they start creeping it up, Brad Marchand, now, will he be a finalist? No, because the league doesn't like him.
Yeah.
And they certainly don't like him after his comments about the Olympics.
No, he's
right. Is that right? Is that wrong? I don't know. That's up for someone else to decide. But Brad Marchand could be a finalist for the Hart, or should be in that conversation if the Bruins continue on their way. So
yeah, that's a good pick. He is kind of a slimy guy, but yeah, it's definitely good. He has 19 goals, 20 assists.
Yeah, I mean, and
19 minutes.
And lately, his last few games, I mean, he's just been putting up numbers like crazy. So he's a nice player. I mean, he's the guy you love to hate is the guy you want on your team, right?
Yeah, and he'll, kiss the ring at Vancouver anytime he can.
Yep. He'll be ready for that. So who wins the scoring title? Let's move on to the Art Ross prediction. And this is always kind of, well, is this a two-person race right now, as it has been in the years past, between two guys whose teams are just in turmoil, and or teams in turmoil, and they, who knows, either they're a first-round exit or won't even get in, but two guys are competing for the scoring title on the team. Is that where we are, Sean? One of these two guys?
I think it's between Draisaitl and Connor McDavid.
Yeah. Right.
I think, I think probably McDavid wins the scoring title.
Yeah.
Just because he has the benefits of playing with Draisaitl. Ovechkin's got 52 points behind him, and Ovechkin's really not playing with anybody else. So, yeah, I think it's a 2-horse race. I'll give it to McDavid.
Right.
That's who I mean. That's easy enough.
Where you are? Yeah, I mean, this one's not as much fun, I don't think, because it's basically who has the most points.
Right. So
you can't argue about anything here. It's
not like Dylan Strome can come out of nowhere and win this award.
Oh, you don't think so? Oh, okay.
I mean.
All right. Well, then I'm sorry. Then I'll back down in my support of him. Oh goodness. This is my favorite award right now, and let's get after the Norris Trophy for best defenseman in the NHL. Who's been the best defenseman to this point? Who's gonna take it? I know how I feel about this thing. I've got 3 nominees. We'll start with Bard. On this one. Norris Trophy, best defenseman in the NHL.
So call me biased, but I am going with UMass alum, UMass legend, Cale Makar.
Okay.
I understand Colorado got to a slow start, but now they've turned it around. They look like they're going to, really, go full steam ahead the rest of the way. He has been unbelievable. He may set the record for most goals by a defenseman.
Yep.
He's on pace for, is it close to 40? I don't remember, but he's, what does he have now? Shawnee usually has his stats up, but so.
Yeah, I just put him down. Sorry.
Yeah. But he is, defensively, he's much better than I thought he would be, even coming out of college. And he was impressive. And I thought he was a great skater, which, he still is. Tremendous offensive defenseman. The move that he put on Kirby Dach was unbelievable. I've never seen it. I mean, he skates better than any defenseman I've ever seen, and maybe even better than Duncan Keith, maybe better than Coffey or Leach and others. He is unbelievable. Yeah. So to me, I think he is going to win it. My runner-up is Adam Fox, who's had another, tremendous year, maybe even a better year than last year, because I think he's gotten better defensively.
Okay.
And he's still, really good offensively. But to me, I think, and then my wild card, it's not really a wild card sleeper because he could certainly finish winning the trophy or second is Aaron Ekblad.
Yeah, it's a good
another
pick.
tremendous year. Ton of minutes in 5-on-5. Plays in all situations. I love the kid, and remember also he had a devastating injury last year.
He did.
So,
No, it's gross. Yeah.
right. So he's back this year, and he is back for sure.
Yeah.
So
those are good picks. I like those. Shawnee, I'm going to jump in and go second, just so I'm not always last.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, I'm going to go Victor Hedman. Victor Hedman, 38 points, 38 games right now, and that's not even his job. And so, yeah, I mean, his team is excellent. Who knows how many of those are secondary assists, but I don't know. I still think he's the best defenseman in the game. Will he get the award? I think that there might be a little bit of a, I don't want to use the word bias because that's not right. Because I do think Makar might be deserving in the end, but I think that from a marketing standpoint, Makar might be the guy that they want to go with. At the end of the day, I've got Makar in my top three, and then I've got Rossi in there. I think he's
Michael Roosevelt?
No, Roman Josi, the first place Nashville Predators, and he's their leading scorer.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, he plays in Nashville and doesn't get talked about very much, and he's their best player.
He is.
Yep.
By far. And so I think he could be a finalist this year. I actually think he and Hedman would be. I'd put them ahead of Makar right now. Will it finish that way? I don't know. We'll see. Makar's really starting to play, and Makar is always good for the highlight reel. And so when those things get posted, it gets noticed and it gets reviews. So, but I don't know. Victor Hedman, I think, is the most complete defenseman out there right now. Will it be Makar someday? Sure, but right now I still think Hedman holds the belt. Shawnee, what do you got?
I mean, my finalists are Victor Hedman, Makar, and probably I would think Roman Josi. Those would be my three. And I was going to give it to Victor Hedman because, I mean, like everything you said, complete defenseman. He shuts down the best player on the ice every time he's on the ice. They're a good team, and I think Victor Hedman deserves it. He's also, fancy stats. We love them. Not really, but Victor Hedman is number 1 in the NHL with total goals on ice for. It's 73.
Wow.
So he's been on the ice for 73 of Tampa Bay's goals. And Aaron Ekblad, who I know was spoken about earlier, is at 70, and then a little farther down the line, Kel Makar tied for 6 with 66. But they're the top 3 defensemen. Yeah. So clearly they put points when they're on the ice. Their team scores, and how do they do that? They keep the puck out of their own end.
Yeah.
So, and the Norris Trophy's kind of been more of an offensive award as of late. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not back in the day where you're like a shutdown, like Nicholas Lindstrom defenseman anymore.
Yeah.
It's more of everything is geared towards scoring now.
No longer a dead puck era trophy.
Correct. Yep.
That's for sure. Though I don't miss the dead puck era. Not one bit. Boy, was that brutal. The Hawks were bad and the league was bad.
Yeah.
Everything bad. Kind of like now. Weird. All right. Shawnee, you're going to get first crack here.
Okay.
I'll go third again. I'll go first at some point. I just don't want to. I like hearing you guys more. Vezina Trophy prediction. Ooh. The outstanding goaltender. I think you want to talk about wild cards. I think we got a lot to talk about on this one. And this could be really, really fun. So if you want to punt, if you want to defer to the second half and take the kickoff then, feel free to hand it off to someone, Shawnee. We don't want to put you on the spot here.
Okay, so my finalists, I'm going to go with Jack Campbell.
Yes, I love it.
I'm going to go with Frederick Anderson and UC Soros, the Nashville Predators, are my 3. And I'm going to give it to – I always love a good comeback story. I love a good success story. Even though he plays for the Maple Leafs and, it's everybody's God-given right to hate them, I'm going to give it to Jack Campbell. I think Jack Campbell wins the Vezina Trophy. I mean, he's got a 2.02 goals against average this year. His save percentage is .935, and he's got 18 wins.
Yeah,
he's third in the league behind the great Andrei Vasilevsky and Yuri Soros, who's number 3 with 20 wins.
Yeah, now let's compliment.
Yuri Soros from the or Saros from the Predators. I'm butchering his name.
Yeah, par for the course.
Yeah.
Well, let's compliment that with something real quick before we go to you, Bard. Are we laughing at the Maple Leafs going into the playoffs again? Or they have their guy now, it seems like. Or is it just like, nope, Leafs are going to be the Leafs?
The problem with them has always been, well, the problem with them has not only been goaltending, but it's also been, defense.
Yeah, they
So
don't
it's
have
like,
the
okay, you fixed one problem, but now you still got, holes on the other side of the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, they give up a ton of shots.
Yeah.
Campbell's faced the 6th most shots in the NHL.
He's going to have to steal it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah. All right. I digress, but that's too much fun to talk about. Bardo, your top 3, who you got? Who's winning this thing?
So I'm going with, and I'm going to go from 3, 2, and 1. My number 3 is also Freddie Anderson, who's had a great year for Carolina. Surprise. Number 2, Jacob Markstrom from Calgary, who's had an excellent year.
Slowed down a bit, but he looks good.
Yep, he slowed down a bit, but he's looked really good. I think he's going to have a good second half. Maybe not as dominant as he was, but he was good. And number 1, I got to agree with Shawnee, is Campbell. Everyone loves a good comeback story. I think also, a lot of these awards are also about, what's the narrative around it. And we know that there's been some, issues in goal, also on defense, as I just said, related to the Leafs. And to me, this guy has come in, has probably been the best goaltender, they've had in years. So to me, I think it's a great story, and I think Campbell wins it.
Okay. I like it. I like it a lot. I've got Campbell winning it as well. So we are all in unison here. In my finalists, I do have Freddie Anderson, and I've got Tristan Jarry in there.
Okay.
Who's doing and he could win it. He's leading the league in goals against average right now. He's their guy. His save percentage is in the top 5 in the league. The Penguins are the Penguins are so dangerous right now. I mean, they're really playing their best hockey, probably in 2 or 3 years. And Jarry's been a big part of that. They had Malkin out for a long time. He's finally back, but Jarry's been a big reason that they've been in this position, and he's been holding down the fort. So I'm going to give the edge to Campbell, but my wild card, like, hey, who knows, is I think Tristan Jarry is going to be a finalist, and we'll see what happens with that.
That's a really good pick, because I thought he was going to get run out of town after his terrible playoff performance. I mean,
I think so. That giveaway up the middle to who was that? Bailey on the Islanders. Just put it right on the stick. Yeah, I was chuckling quite a bit on that one. My Islanders, who were my Stanley Cup pick. Oh, God,
I think they were mine too. Ooh.
Never gonna live that one down.
I should have worn my Islanders hat tonight. Maybe that'll be next week.
Don't worry, they've only played 3 games this season. They have like 78 more to go. So
they sure do. So we're gonna go with the Calder, and then we're gonna get into the ones that are really hard to predict, and that's when so many names are gonna throw out. But let's talk Calder. Let's talk Rookie of the Year. I'm gonna go first this time. I'm gonna take the floor. I'm gonna take the mic. I've got 3 guys, the finalists. I've got Lucas Reichel out of Detroit, who's having a stellar first campaign, pumping a lot of points. They've got their guys. Trevor Zegras is going to be in the conversation. He's probably going to get a lot of votes. He's probably going to get a lot of looks because of his highlight reel play. But I am going to give the Calder Trophy to Moritz Seider in Detroit, who plays over 20 minutes a night, is top rookie in scoring. He's learning the game very well. He's an asset. Stevie Y, how did you do it? None of us will know why you picked him, how you spotted him. The kid's a real player. He's legit at his age, and he's doing so much in Detroit, and he's a stalwart. And they're going to be in the playoffs next year. I don't think it'll be this year, but they're going to do the Blackhawks thing where it's like we'll just miss this year, but wow, was that fun? And then the following year, they'll be like, yeah, we're still young enough where we don't know what we're doing. And then we're going to make it to the semis. Then all of a sudden, they're going to be a cup contender. And this is going to be the guy for a number of years. I'm going Moritz Seider, the Rookie of the Year for Calder. Let's go to Bard, and then we'll go to Shawnee.
100% agree with you. And,
whoa!
The interesting thing about Seider is I think he's the best player on his team. And to be a rookie and be a defenseman and be the best player on your team, to me, is a huge accomplishment. So to me, he wins it hands down.
Awesome.
Do
you have finals? I'm sorry, Shawnee.
No, go ahead.
Bardo?
My finalists are also the same as yours. It's Lucas Raymond, who's come up right away as a tremendous scorer, and Zegras. I mean, that highlight is going to stick with him. People are going to pay attention to him.
Yeah.
Yep. And I think Sider's going to win, and I think you're right. And I think Sider being like people were booing that pick. Like they were like all the pundits were crushing Stevie Y for it. Everybody was. So I think that's another reason why I win. He's far and above everybody's expectations, what they thought about him, and they developed him. They let him play a whole year in the AHL. He's come up this year, set it on fire. They're going to be, like you said, they're going to make the playoffs, and he's going to be a big reason why. And he's going to be their defensive stalwart for years to come.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's got to win the Calder. If he doesn't, there's something wrong with the voting.
Yeah.
We'll get the count involved. Stop the count. Stop the count. No.
We all agree on one. How about that? All of the same three. So good stuff. Good stuff. All right. Now, the next one, the criteria in recent years for this award has bugged me quite a bit. And I'll get into that in a minute. But the Selke Trophy prediction, best defensive forward in the game, should be called the best defensive center in the game. Because all of a sudden, I don't know when it was. Fine, I'll just say it right now. It drives me crazy that face-off percentage is now criteria for this award, and they don't call it the best defensive center, and they don't have a best defensive winger award. It drives me insane. For a lot of those reasons, no difference to Patrice Bergeron, who has basically owned this award for a long time. You know, Marian Hossa, who is the best defensive forward of his generation, never stood a chance because he never took draws.
Right.
So I just want to throw that out there, that I think the criteria around this award and how it's phrased is lousy. At any rate, Bardo, Selke, what are you thinking for this one?
So I'm going with, so my top three are Alex Barkov.
Yep.
That team having another tremendous year defensively. And he's right at the center of it along with Ekblad. I am going with your guy, Bergeron. I mean, he's still, I get it that he's slowed down a little bit, but he's still shutting people down like crazy.
He's still the guy.
Still the guy. And I am going to go a little bit younger here. I was going back and forth with who my third guy was going to be, and I'm going to go with Matthew Tkachuk because I think he's having a real good year. And if you watch him play, and I've watched, I would say I've watched about 5 Calgary games for no apparent reason other than they've been just on TV. And he's really good defensively. Like I've always known him as a good goal scorer, power forward type, but he actually is very good defensively too.
Awesome. All right. I like it. Genius.
And my winner is Barkov.
Yeah, I think Barkov he's a special talent, that one. 26 years young and has a lot going for him. Oh, does he really? Oh, well.
I think he is. I think he's a free agent like after next season.
Oh, well, he's going to crack the bank big time.
Oh, yeah.
What say you, Shawnee? What do you got on this?
Barkov, Bergeron, and I don't even know who my third pick would be. This one's so tough to judge.
Yeah.
Best player in college I've ever seen.
No, Henrik Borgstrom is not going to be my. You know what? Yeah, Henrik Borgstrom will be my wild card pick. He'll be the third one. And after many hours of deliberation, I'll go with Barkov.
Okay, gotcha.
Barkov's great.
I've got Barkov to win it. I've got Bergeron second, and I've got third Anze Kopitar of the second place Los Angeles Kings. All of a sudden,
he was the other one that I was toying with.
Yeah, I mean, he still has it. He's the leader of that team. He's winning in the dot now. His plus minus right now, if he's going to be a finalist, needs to be rectified.
Yeah.
I think he's like a -7 or 8 or something. They'll look at that and just be like, no. But possibility for him to be a finalist.
And he's won it already twice. He won it in 16 and 18.
Yeah. I think right now, honestly, Jonathan Taves is second in faceoff percentage in the NHL right now, I believe. And he clearly plays a defensive game now.
Yeah.
But I don't. There's no way they're giving it to anyone on the Blackhawks this year,
No.
And I also don't think he should win it for that matter. A couple more awards. there's the Ted Lindsay Trophy for the outstanding player, which I just want to touch base on. I don't know if we need to have a bunch of candidates for that. Basically, that's, Ovechkin might be the MVP, but they might say, but McDavid's the best player. And that's just how that will land. Are they wrong? No. So that makes sense. I don't really know what they do with that award. The Lady Bing could be anything. There have been in the years past, it's like a guy who had a really good season, but they ran out of hardware for him. So they said, give him the Lady Bing. I remember Kane was always a candidate for the Lady Bing when they were like, oh man, he's so good, but he's just not heartworthy yet. And so he'd always be a candidate for the Lady Bing.
Wasn't it usually defined as like the most gentlemanly player?
It was, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But and so didn't that originally, I don't know if it meant this, but wasn't it usually looked at as who had the least amount of penalty minutes? And it was always like Gretzky. Didn't Gretzky win like 10 of them?
Gretzky won it. Gretzky, when he was winning, Art Ross and Hart was getting that. So
yeah, because he always had like 2 penalty minutes a year.
Yeah. So,
Gretzky, Ron Francis, Paul Correa, Pavel Datsyuk won it a bunch.
Yeah. Well, so Slavin won it last year in Carolina. And as a defenseman, there's one defenseman in the NHL that's a regular right now that has no penalties, and that's Andy Green. I don't know if he'll be a finalist. I'll throw mine out there. I've got Jack Hughes, Andy Green, and my winner is Evan Rodriguez of the Pittsburgh Penguins, who in 35 games has 15 goals, 15 assists, is +9, and he's got no penalties. Now, is anyone watching him? I don't know. If he ends up winning this after this podcast, all of you owe me a Coke. But so those are my 3 guys, and I'll go with Rodriguez for fun because that's exciting. Shawnee.
It's usually a name award. Slavin's probably the first name. Like McKinnon won it, Barkov won it, Carlson, Goudreau, Kopitar. So I will go with, just to make Eric Andrews' heart flutter, I will go with Slavin again.
Oh, you've made a friend.
I did. I'm sure I'll get a tweet, shut up, Sean, or something like that.
Yeah, so we better check the messages in about 5 minutes here. Oh, man. My goodness. Okay, do you have any other finalists?
No.
No. Yeah, Bardo, what say you, Bardo?
So my winner, I'm going to go with Barkov as my winner.
Okay.
Really not much more to say. It's hard to really pick anybody else. My runners up are Jacob Trouba and Tom Wilson.
Gotcha. Outstanding.
I have no freaking idea.
I know. For those of you who don't know Trouba or Tom Wilson, do some Googling and you'll be like, why did he pick them? Let's go to something. Shawnee's disappeared for a minute, but I'm sure he'll be back. Let's go to an award right now, Bardo. I definitely want to start with you on this one because I'd love to hear your thoughts. And that's the Jack Adams, and that's Coach of the Year.
Yeah.
That's a good one. You've referenced many good coaches in our podcast in the past. So I really want to start with you and hear what you got here. See might happen. And it's hard to know because this is one where you do it mid-season. It means nothing.
It does because, it's like a month ago, Nashville wasn't even, in the discussion of as a playoff team. And now here they are. LA all of a sudden has, come back to life. And then you've got Colorado, who everyone expected, but now they're back. It's like you could go in 1,000,001 directions and probably not be wrong.
Right.
But there's an argument for a lot of them. I would say without having, and I'm going to bring up the standings because I need to look at that first.
Yeah.
But because I have a few names in mind that I want to go with.
Gotcha.
I am going to go with, I'll tell you who I'm going to go with. You know what? I got to go with Nashville's coach, which is, who is it? His name's slipping my head.
Gonna have to look it up. How about
I can't believe I'm slipping. It's not Reardon. It's
no, John Hines.
John Hines, right?
Yep.
who was the Penguins coach, the Devils coach, and
Yep.
is a solid coach. You know, he wins where he goes. So, and
He does.
look, you know, he doesn't have a lot of talent here, but quite frankly, I mean, he's winning here. So to me, he would be my winner right now.
Got it.
My second choice, I would probably go with. Oh man,
It
this is a hard one. Wow,
is tough. It is tough. I did a little I had to do homework. That's
I didn't
for
do
sure.
much homework, so forgive me. You know who I'm going to take? Dallas Eakins.
Yeah, that's who I've got. I've got
Anaheim.
I've got Dallas.
Anaheim.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say Anaheim just, you know, came out of nowhere, went with the youth movement, and you know they still got some of the old horses like Getzlaff and others, but they're winning, and that to me is impressive.
Yeah.
And then as far as a third one, oh God, that's a tough call. I mean, maybe you say. I think it's a long shot to happen because of how good of a start that they had, but I got to say Andrew Burnett.
Yeah. That's a good pick.
What's that?
That's a good pick.
I mean, quite frankly, I mean, he took over for Quenneville, who was winning.
Yep.
What does that have to do? You know, that has to do a lot to a team. Is that you lose a guy who is a future Hall of Famer, and then he takes over having no head coaching experience, and the team is just continuing to win.
Right.
So to me, I got to give him credit for that one. But again, this is all going to change because all of a sudden Detroit can be in the playoff mix, and then you got to go with him, Blashill.
Yeah. And I know we talked about, we were going to do on ice awards. This is the only off ice award, that we're going to touch.
But it's a major award.
Yeah, major award. Sorry to put on a spot. The only other one is the GM of the year, which we could debate. But then again, that's all based on end product. It's tough mid-year. For the
sorry, gentlemen, I'm back.
Well, welcome back.
I listened the whole time, but I had to take my dog outside.
Awesome. So the Jack Adams, I've got Dean Evison. We've talked about who's been great in Minnesota. Now a lot of that will depend on if Minnesota can finish what they started and continue their ways and how they've done it. I've got him as a finalist. I have Eakins, and then I've got Todd McClellan in LA. Because LA's moving, now will the three finalists be from the West? No, not in a million years.
Mm-hmm.
But those are my three, and I'm going to go with McClellan. I want LA to stick. I want this to work for them. I'm big. They're like what I want my Blackhawks to be, a reclamation project almost. And so away they go. Shawnee, this is going to be our only off-ice award that we touched tonight. Do you have any thoughts on the Jack Adams? And
I do. I'm going to say one of my finalists is going to be Andrew Burnett from the Florida Panthers.
Yep. Love it.
I am going to say Peter Laviolette for the Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice.
And then I am going to say, kind of torn on the third one here, because I was doing some thinking. I'm going to go John Cooper for the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
And I am going to go with John Cooper from the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay.
Because I think they're in a really tough spot. They won the cup last season. They're a really good team. It's hard to stay on top, especially when you're getting everybody's best shot. They won back-to-back years. Yeah. They're on top again in their division. He's going to lead them into the playoffs again. Yep, I think he wins it again. I think Yzerman built that team, but he came along with those players. And I think if he's not there, they don't win.
Yep. No, I would agree. He's definitely done a good job down there.
So I'm going to go. And yes, all three finalists won't come from the same conference.
No, they won't.
I mean, I'm sure because it's New York that Gallant's going to get probably some love.
He might get in there.
Is Jeremy Colliton getting any love?
Nope. He's somewhere eating his feelings. If he has any.
A Swedish restaurant?
I don't know. Who knows what?
Bruce Boudreau is going to get in.
Yeah, that's brutal. So, well, there you have it, folks. We're approaching the hour, and the Blackhawks are almost halfway through the first period. So,
does Reichel have any goals yet, or?
Yeah, nothing. There's no score, so we've missed very little. So we still have time to tune in. So this is a good time for us to declare victory on the evening. Any final thoughts on the show tonight, guys, or any final parting words of wisdom?
I had a question. I know we kind of went around the league, but who do you think the MVP of the Blackhawks is? Who would be their Hart Trophy winner this season?
DeBrincat.
That's what I figured.
Yeah.
I just thought I'd ask.
Yeah.
And maybe this is just maybe a thought for the next show. Maybe we do the Razzie Awards. Like,
cool.
I don't know if you guys are familiar. So
anything.
So the Academy Awards are usually given out to like the best picture and stuff. The Razzies are the worst. So like they give them out to worst movie.
Sure.
Worst. So maybe we do like maybe next week we do like worst start, worst coach, like something like that. Like the like Bardo's Islanders, the Blackhawks.
We could only have one Blackhawk or something.
I'm not an Islander fan.
I know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, we had lots of good ideas. Folks, everyone out there, you continue to tune in. We're going to get creative with our shows moving forward. We're also going to have at some point an Olympic preview where we look at the men's Olympic rosters as well as a women's Olympic preview because that's really the tournament to watch as soon as they go overseas. So we're going to have a lot of good stuff.
Blackhawks prospect Drew Komesko was invited to Team USA.
Drew Komesko was invited, to be on the roster. I don't know what they're going to do or if they're going to let NCAA players go, if their teams are going to let them go or they're going to leave it up to them because the timing of it, particularly for all those Michigan guys that have been invited, as we talked about last week, is very interesting because if they get COVID over there, they're going to be there for an awfully long time, and it's going to affect the entire reason why they came back to play college hockey in the first place. So that should be interesting. So we're going to get into some of that. Bardo, any last words, shots, words of wisdom?
Yes, for you guys. We talk about Shawnee's hat game always at the top. One thing I forgot to do is talk about my shirt game for tonight, which is a Chiefs shirt, and it's with Bears legend number 69.
Oh, Kyle Long.
Yeah, who's now Chiefs legend, Kyle Long. And I had to get the shirt first, because I'm still, a kid at heart. When I saw that Kyle Long actually picked number 69, I was like, I got to get this.
And I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Bardo, he was added to the active roster recently.
Because he was hurt. He got hurt during training camp.
He was on the PUP list.
Yeah, he broke his foot or his fibula or something like that, and then he literally was active for the first game last week against Denver. So,
yeah, wow. I was hoping when you turn around, I was hoping to see Christian Okoye or Derek Thomas, but
that's in the closet. Those are like real jerseys I have in the closet.
Or maybe a Dante Hall.
Yeah,
the human joystick. No, it's
human joystick.
Yeah, I do have a Matt Castle jersey. I'm not proud of that one.
Oh.
So in the spirit of shout outs to dads, I just, if you guys don't mind, just want to end the show with this quick plug. Shawnee wished his dad happy birthday last week, and again, happy belated, Mr. Fitzgerald. Hope to meet you someday. I just wanted to give a quick story and a quick shout out to my father. 2 years ago, the Olympics are coming up again, and when hockey comes up and the Olympics come up, of course, the first one of the things that comes to mind, whether it's I think about Olympic hockey, and whether it's '98 with the women winning their first gold, or their shootout victory as well. But I go back to 1980 always comes up in the Miracle on Ice, and so Al Michaels gave an interview 2 years ago on the 40th anniversary of the Miracle on Ice, and I play this game with my friends a lot, and I'm sure you guys do it too. And we could even do it on this podcast where you say, okay, top 3 games that you wish you could have been there to see it in action. And so for the longest time ever, I had 1980 and the win, the USA win over the Russians on that list. Be like, oh my God, that's number 1 for me.
I just got goosebumps thinking about it.
Yeah, but Al Michaels gave this interview, and he said, he said people either know it where they were when it happened, or they know it as a bedtime story. And so, I was all of 1.5 when it happened. And so, being my father being a hockey player, me being a hockey player growing up, I grew up with his version of, where he was when it happened and how he came home and how the game was being played later and how Jim Lampley was up there going, you're not going to want to miss this, folks, and all the fans screaming in the background, and he turned to my mother, and I think my sister and we had a babysitter. They were off at some function, and he goes, "No way. You don't think they actually won, do you?" But and then they sat and watched the game. So I grew up with that story. And so where I'm going with this is when Al Michaels said that it as a bedtime story. If someone were to ask me today or any day moving forward, if I would trade that bedtime story of my father telling me that story over and over again to physically be there and watch the game, I would not trade it. I love that story. I love how he told it to me growing up. And I love you, Dad. Thank you for always telling me that story. Excited to watch some Olympic hockey, hopefully with you. And, thanks for always for being there. And you're a good dude, Bruce. Thanks so much. Sorry, guys, but had to give him a shout.
Great way to end it.
Yeah.
Love it.
All right. Well, viewers, thank you so much. Those who tuned in, we will be back next week. And so follow the Rink, and also our sponsor, one last shout out, Puck Hockey, PUCKHCKY.com. Use discount code The Rink in all caps for 10% off. $100 gets you a free t-shirt. Check out our gear. It's good stuff. I'm Andy Campbell on behalf of the Bard and Sean Fitzgerald. Thank you for listening tonight. Go Hawks, and tune in again next week. Thanks very much.